Part 27. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 261. In short, Su Yang, now your status in Kikai's mind has undergone earth-shaking changes, Concubine Li said with a smile. So that's it? Su Yang smiled, then looked at Li Kikai and apologized. Kikai, I did something wrong before. I shouldn't tease you or laugh at you. Let's make peace from now on. Well, brother-in-law. Li Kikai nodded seriously, her two ponytails bouncing back and forth, looking very cute. I said, Su Yang, have you forgotten what you came here to do? At this moment, Zhou Yutong complained, first we fell in love, and then settled the differences with my sister-in-law. What's going on? Are you making a fuss? And you, Kikai, Sister Fixuan, you have disappointed me so much. Have you forgotten what my situation is now? Oh, why don't you come and save me? Zhou Yutong was about to cry. While complaining, he struggled to get rid of the child next to him. Unfortunately, the little boy held on tightly, and her struggle was obviously in vain. Tong Tong, don't worry, my brother-in-law will definitely be able to handle this little guy. Li Kikai hurriedly said, brother-in-law, it's up to you, come on. Su Yang nodded, then walked up to the little boy and said deliberately and viciously, Hey, little one, whose child are you? Unexpectedly, the little boy in ancient costume was not frightened at all. He glanced at Su Yang and said, I'm not called little one, I have a name. Oh, what's your name? Suzing, the boy in costume said seriously. Good. This little guy is Suzing who ran away from home. This morning, he came to Jiangbei and met Li Fixuan, Li Kikai and Zhou Yutong. Suzing took a liking to Zhou Yutong at a glance and hurriedly approached her, asking Zhou Yutong to be his little wife. Suzing. Su Yang read the name once, then smiled softly and said, what a coincidence, your surname is also Su. Whose child are you from? Snort. Suzing snorted coldly, met Su Yang's gaze, raised his eyebrows and said, whose family are you from? I. Su Yang was stunned and suddenly didn't know how to answer. Puff. Seeing this, Li Fixuan and Li Kikai laughed out loud, and even Zhou Yutong couldn't help laughing. You little guy, you are so rude. Su Yang couldn't help but waved his fist and said fiercely, I'll count to 3, then let go of your hand immediately. I won't hit the child, so don't force me. You are so rude as a grown-up. Suzing said seriously, don't you see that I am begging for a wife? Do you have any right to interfere? Come on, get out of here. I don't want to hit anyone, so don't force me. Worry. Su Yang couldn't laugh or cry, this is the first time I've seen such an arrogant child like you. Where is your family? You are usually so arrogant, but your father doesn't care about you. I don't have a father, Suzing gritted his teeth. Hee. Su Yang couldn't help but laugh and said, without a father, how could it be that you just jumped out of the cracks in the rocks? You don't have to worry about it. I don't care about you. Su Yang said, you have been thinking about your little wife since you were young, and you just thought about it. You also took action. You just find someone on the street and let them be your little wife. It shows that you don't have any tutoring, and your father is not a good person, right? I told you, I don't have a father. Okay, you said you want her to be your little wife, does that mean you have several wives? Where do they go to kindergarten? Su Yang couldn't help but joke. None of your business. Suzing suddenly let go of Zhou Yutong's skirt, his eyes fell on Su Yang, and he gritted his teeth and said, I find you are really annoying. I don't know why. I feel annoyed when I see you. You are not lucky today. I've decided to beat you up, big guy, just tremble. When Su Yang heard this, he immediately touched the bridge of his nose, looked at Li Feixuan, Li Kekai and Zhou Yutong who had just been rescued next to him, and asked helplessly, "Am I being frightened by a 4-year-old child?" The three people nodded at the same time, then stepped back one after another, looking over with the mentality of watching the fun. It can be seen from this that this little guy has a treasure on his body, which covers the fluctuations of infuriating energy all over his body. If you just practice on your own, no matter how terrifying the talent is, you won't be able to become a master at this age. I'm not convinced, come again. Su Yang used close to the end of the world and his figure flickered, giving Suzing another headache. Ouch. And Su Yang was very surprised when he saw this. He didn't expect that a 4-year-old child could have the power of a martial arts master. However, he was just a child at the master level and could not make any waves in front of Su Yang. It didn't count just now, it was just a coincidence. Suzing curled his lips arrogantly, "If you don't believe me when I say it, forget it and prove it with actions." As soon as he finished speaking, Suzing's little body suddenly moved, and he quickly jumped towards Su Yang. His movements were very fast. In response to this, Su Yang raised his hand and was confused again. This little guy is extraordinary and must have something special about him. Suzing was furious. Boom. At this moment, Su Yang stood aside, hugging his arms and smiling playfully, "Little guy, do you still dare to be arrogant with me?" Suzing was unconvinced, gritted his teeth, and then took action again, planning to sneak attack his opponent while he was unprepared. But then, Suzing was dumbfounded. The origin of this little guy must be unusual. The 4-year-old grandmaster, if nothing else, should come from the ancient martial arts world and receive the teachings of a certain strong man. Because when he didn't take action, Su Yang didn't detect the fluctuation of true energy from his body. Finally, "Oh, brother, stop hitting me. I was wrong. I don't want this little wife anymore. I'll give it to your head office. Please don't hit me." Suzing immediately stopped what he was doing and sat down on the ground, holding his head and grinning in pain. It hurts me to death. Ah, I'm so angry." Suzing became angry and used his strongest method to kill Su Yang angrily. Martial arts master. Next, he kept charging at Su Yang, but unfortunately every time, he would suffer a head injury. Who are you trying to scare you? I'm serious too. A big guy like you, even 100 of them are no match for me. Hey, I must have been so scared. This kid was also very stubborn. He was hit more than 10 times in succession, so that he had big bumps on his head. Because he didn't know when, Su Yang had appeared behind him, and with his fingers bent, he raised his hand and dunked on his head, giving him a brain-destroying blow. Suzing gave in and hugged Su Yang's thigh, crying and begging for mercy. When Suzing saw Su Yang's lack of reaction, he raised a proud smile on his lips and kept moving his hands. Suzing. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 262. Seeing the little one begging for mercy, Su Yang stopped and raised a playful smile. "It's enough if it's like this. Why don't you listen to the advice and have to be beaten before you give in? Brother, I didn't know you were so strong." Suzing was crying, his expression was very ugly, and he felt very depressed. Original. He thought that when he came to the city, he would definitely kill everyone. He would snatch beautiful women whenever he saw them, and no one could stop him. But who would have thought that when she met her first opponent, she was beaten to the ground? In fact, he had no power to fight back at all. "Little one, where is your family from? Are you from the ancient martial arts world?" At this time, Su Yang hugged his arms and asked curiously. Suzing paused, looked at Su Yang warily, and asked, "Brother, how do you know that I come from the ancient martial arts world? You are already a martial arts master at such a young age." Only the ancient martial arts world can cultivate a monster like you, Su Yang said truthfully. Hey hey. When Su Zing heard the word monster, he couldn't help but show a proud smile. That means, except for my sister, I am invincible at my age. Young master, I started practicing when children my age were still drinking milk. Big guy, you said I was a monster. That's right. You are very discerning, Su Zing said arrogantly. Su Yang's face darkened, he curled his fingers and said in a calm tone, little one, are you pretending to be cool in front of me? Do you want to be beaten again? Brother, don't, don't, I'm just joking to liven up the atmosphere. Su Zing was startled, and quickly hugged Su Yang's thigh, and rubbed his head against Su Yang's leg, looking extremely humble. Don't interrupt. Where is your home from? Why did you come to Jiangbei alone? Su Yang asked again. Hey, young master, I have been in charge all my life, but today I fell into your hands. Forget it, it doesn't matter if I tell you. Su Zing sighed, and then said, brother, actually I come from the land of Fengchan, and my ancestor is the master of Mount Tai. Although Su Zing is not very old, he is still a villain. Naturally, he knows that when traveling in the world, his identity cannot be exposed casually, so he made up one casually. The place of Zen. Ancestor, Lord of Mount Tai. When Su Yang heard this, his eyes suddenly turned cold. Damn it! It takes no effort to get there even though you have worn iron shoes to find it. I don't know how to settle accounts with the Fengchan place, and you actually came to my door. But then, Su Yang's face darkened, and he raised his hand to give Su Zing a blow in his head. Hey, brother, I told you my identity, why are you still beating me? Su Zing covered his head and said aggrievedly. Do you think I'm stupid? Su Yang gritted his teeth and said, the master of Mount Tai is surnamed Shi, and your surname is Su. How could he be your ancestor? Tell me honestly, where do you come from? If you lie again, I will strip you naked and flick you 100 times. Ah, brother, no, I said it's not okay. A look of fear suddenly appeared on Su Zing's little face, and then he said, actually, I come from an ancient and mysterious family. It is not easy for our family to be born. Once born, it will definitely stir up troubles in all directions, and I am. Fuck you, you dare to fool me. When Su Yang heard this, he knew that Su Zing was lying. He immediately had to take off the little boy's pants and show him something. There are currently two of them, one named Jasmine and the other named Baiji, Su Zing said proudly. TCH, I'll leave if you let me go. Who are you? Brother-in-law, calm down. This little guy is quite interesting. Don't hit him. Although he is speechless, he is only a few years old after all. He doesn't understand anything. We have to tolerate him. Big guy, come on, hit me. Why are you so arrogant? I really thought you could beat me. After being rescued, Su Zing landed firmly on the ground, hurriedly hid behind Li Feixuan, and then lifted up his pants. I didn't say hello, I said, I have a name, my name is Su Zing, Su Zing said seriously, also, don't pinch my face, you can't afford to pay if you do it. Su Zing's face turned pale and he said, I don't want to make things difficult for my family. Brother, are you right? Please spare me. Brother, don't make trouble. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Your surname is Su and my surname is Su. We are all from the same family. You really deserve a beating. Li Kekai laughed out loud, and then asked curiously, Su Zing, how many wives do you have, and what are their names? Sister, look at him, he wants to hit me again, I'm so scared. At this time, Su Zing's eyes fell on Li Feixuan, with her big kawaii eyes pleading. Su Zing curled his lips and said in a pretentious manner, I was just joking with you just now. I didn't even use 1% of my strength. Otherwise, I would have beaten you all over the ground. Suzing glanced at Li Kekai, and then said with disgust, "You are too young to be my little wife." What's exaggerated is that this guy cried whenever he wanted, with tears in his eyes, and he looked pitiful. You are very beautiful, but you have a fatal flaw that I don't like. Hey, you can really name it? Depend on. Why do you deserve a beating so much? Li Feixuan smiled softly and said, Tong Tong has no actual losses, let him go. Suzing suddenly became frightened and hid behind Li Feixuan, pitifully weak and helpless. Little devil, there is not a word of truth in your mouth. Su Yang ignored it and continued to lecture Suzing. After hearing his wife's plea, Su Yang stopped and threw Suzing aside. Su Yang's face darkened, and he was about to come over and teach Suzing a lesson. Haha, burp, so cute. Hiding behind Li Feixuan, Suzing said confidently, I haven't conquered my little wife yet, so I won't leave. What's the shortcoming? Li Kekai looked curious. Su Yang, forget it. Ah, help me, you are taking human life seriously, little sister, you are so beautiful, you must be a good person, please help me quickly. Seeing this, Li Kekai next to her comforted Su Yang, then squatted in front of Suzing, pinched Suzing's little face, and said with a smile, Hey, little one, do you deserve a beating at home? Li Feixuan was instantly cued, so she smiled and said, Su Yang, that's about it, he's still a child. Li Kekai smiled and said, Suzing, do you have any requirements for a wife? Why did you hold on to Tong Tong's skirt when the three of us appeared together? Am I not beautiful? Su Yang gritted his teeth and came over with a fierce expression, intending to teach Suzing a lesson. Su Yang nodded, then threatened, Suzing, get out of here, don't let me see you again, otherwise I will definitely beat you up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 263. You are too young. Li Kekai was petrified on the spot when she heard this. She originally had a smile on her face, but now she was gritting her teeth. My dear sir, I have no other merits, except that I am honest and never lie. Suzing looked at Li Kekai and continued, it's useless for you to be angry. You are really young. This is obvious to everyone. If you don't believe me, ask my elder brother. Brother, is that right? I didn't lie, did I? At this point, Suzing looked at Su Yang and asked for confirmation. Su Yang paused, then touched the bridge of his nose and said, This, ahem, it's very good, little one. You didn't lie this time. Right. Suzing nodded, and then said, Sister, I don't want a younger wife. This is a mandatory condition for me to find a younger wife. Although you are very beautiful, I can't accept you. Suzing continued, after all, my little wife needs to clean my milk bottles, wash clothes, mop the floor, and cook for me. My mother said that she can't do these things with her small butt. Also, my mother also said that women with big butts are easy to give birth to and are not pretentious. It's a pity that you were eliminated by me. Suzing sighed and said, Of course, if you insist on being my little wife, I can do it reluctantly. Ah! Li Kekai's face darkened, and before Suzing finished speaking, she was interrupted, Little one, you ask for a beating. Kekai, calm down. Seeing this, Su Yang smiled and said, Didn't you just say that you want to tolerate him? He is still a child. Tolerance of yarn. Li Kekai said fiercely, This is the first time this girl has ever seen such a kid who deserves a spanking. If I don't spank him till his ass blooms, I'll be sorry for myself. Okay, Kekai. At this time, Zhou Yutong stood up next to her. She got Suzing's approval. Although the other person was just a little kid, she was still happy in her heart, so she comforted her. Suzing is so small and childlike, don't talk to him, it's just a matter of care, and besides, he didn't wrong you. Ah, Tong Tong, you are laughing at me too. Li Kekai was about to collapse. No, 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 I'm just discussing the matter, don't be angry. Zhou Yutong comforted her again, then her eyes fell on Suzing, and she smiled happily. Suzing, I have to admit, you are very discerning, and you fell in love with me at first sight. TCH, what are you proud of? Suzing spoke bluntly and curled his lips and said, among the three young ladies, you are the least handsome. I just settled for the next best thing and asked you to be my little wife first. Don't be too happy too early. When I find someone more suitable, I will definitely dump you, Suzing said arrogantly. Hoo, I. The smile on Zhou Yutong's face froze, then he gritted his teeth in anger and suggested, he deserves a beating, Su Yang, Kekai, let's beat him together. Good idea. Li Kekai decisively agreed, and Su Yang was eager to give it a try. Help, there's a gang fight. Suzing immediately hid behind Li Feixuan. He offended 3 of the 4 people present and had no choice but to seek Li Feixuan's protection. Calm down, don't argue with a child. Concubine Li stopped with a smile, then turned to look at Suzing and asked, Suzing, do I meet your criteria for finding a mistress? Conform to. It fits so well. Suzing nodded and said seriously, Miss, you are the most beautiful person I have ever seen, except for my mother. Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, then why didn't you pull my clothes just now? I don't dare. Suzing rarely became serious and whispered, I don't know why, young lady, you give me a very strong feeling. I dare not offend you. Besides, I would be satisfied if I could just look at such a beautiful young lady like you. How dare I joke with you? Suzing's acting skills were top-notch. He cried whenever he wanted to. Tears welled up in his eyes. He said with a hint of tears, Sister Feixuan, you don't know, my dad is very ruthless. He often hangs me up and beats me. He is simply not human. My parents treat me badly. Suzing had no intention of leaving, but asked, Miss, what is your name, can you tell me? Haha, Li Feixuan replied. Suzing first praised, then said, Miss Feixian, actually I ran out secretly without telling my family. I don't want to go home. Puff. When there is a chance, I will use the treasure to teach him a lesson. That trash seems to be called Su Yang. Now I still have to stay with Sister Feixuan. She gives me a special feeling that resonates with the treasure in my body and makes me fear her. I must figure this out. What, you're going to do such a heavy trick? Really annoying. Concubine Li believed it to be true and said angrily, Suzing, what's your father's name? Take us to find him. I will definitely get an explanation for you. How can you beat a child? It's too much. But no matter what, you can't hit children, Li Feixuan said. However, he is definitely not my father. This guy seems to be also named Su Yang. What is your name? Suzing looked at Li Feixuan and said pitifully, Sister Feixuan, can I stay at your house for a few days to make my dad anxious? When he understands what it's like to lose me, maybe he won't beat me in the future. Do you think it's okay? Also, although my dad beats me, he actually loves me in his heart. He just wants me to become better. I understand this. Escaped secretly, Li Feixuan asked doubtfully, why don't you want to go home? Are your parents treating you badly? In Suzing's mind, mother is sacred and cannot be slandered, but father is different. What a nice name. Hey, maybe father's love is expressed in different ways. My dad thinks that hitting me means he loves me. Thinking of this, Suzing glanced at Su Yang. This guy even has the same name as my good-for-nothing dad. No wonder I hate him so much. Didn't he want to take off my pants and flick my penis? Then I would tie him up in the people's square, take off his clothes, and let everyone watch birds under the moonlight. Li Feixuan couldn't help but laugh and said, "You are a little kid, but you have a bright mind. You know that I am the only one who can protect you now, so you say nice things to coax me, right?" With this thought in mind, Suzing said aggrievedly, "Sister Feixuan, forget it. If you go home with me, my dad will definitely beat the crap out of me." Suzing was just trying to find an excuse to stay. When he heard this, he immediately nodded and said, "Yeah, my mother is very good to me, but my father is not good to me. My father, a short-lived man, died a few days ago, and my mother even built a tomb for him. My father is very violent. Every time I do something wrong, he will beat me black and blue. Okay, I'll just take what you said as true and I won't let them hit you." He has never seen what his father looks like, and instead of having any feelings for him, he is particularly disgusted with him, so he has no sense of guilt in attacking his father. Concubine Li said with a smile, "You should go home quickly and find your mother. It is too dangerous for a child to be outside." Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 264. Originally, Li Feixuan planned to ask Suzing to go home quickly, but seeing Suzing's pitiful appearance, she was shaken and prepared to agree to Suzing's request. "Wife." At this time, Su Yang stepped forward and said, "Don't listen to this little guy's nonsense. He doesn't say a word of truth. He is probably lying to you." "Hey, okay." Before Li Feixuan opened her mouth, Suzing started to retreat instead of advancing, and sighed, "No one cares about me anyway, Sister Feixuan. If you don't take me in, I won't go home, goodbye." After saying that, Suzing turned around and left. "Wait a moment." Concubine Li couldn't bear it and said quickly, "Suzing, since you..." Wife Su Yang glanced at Li Feixuan. "Su Yang, I know he may have lied, but when he said he wasn't going home, it should be true." Li Feixuan said, "He is so young. I can't let him wander outside. It is very dangerous. If he encounters a trafficker, he will be in trouble. You are worrying too much. What kind of human trafficker dares to kidnap him?" Su Yang smiled, but he knew that Li Feixuan was worried, so he showed a playful smile on his lips, and then said, "Wife, let's do this. I will take him in and let him stay with me for easy care. As you can see, this little guy is not simple. He is an ancient warrior. He dares to drag girls on the street and force them to be their mistresses. This is definitely a destabilizing factor." Su Yang whispered, "Keep him with me. If he dares to mess around again, I can suppress him." "That's okay too." Li Feixuan thought it made sense and said, "Suzing, if you want to follow us, let Su Yang take you in." "Damn it, I don't want to." Suzing stopped immediately. Seeing this, Su Yang strode up to Suzing, with his fingers bent and a kind smile on his face. I agree." Forced by Su Yang's power, Suzing chose to compromise and hurriedly smiled and said, Brother Su Yang, it is my honor to be by your side as your little brother. Thank you for taking me in." "Oh, really, then why did you say you were unwilling just now?" Su Yang said with a playful smile. "This." Suzing hurriedly explained, "What I mean is, if someone provokes you, I will be the first one not to do so." "That's it?" Su Yang nodded and said with satisfaction, "Little one, your attitude is not bad. From now on, you will hang out with me and I will take you flying." "Okay, big brother." Suzing agreed on the surface, but was dismissive in his heart. "I bother. WTF? Just you? Will you take me flying? Ha ha ha." I just don't want to be exposed too early, so as not to alert Grandpa, otherwise I will use the treasure to knock you down in seconds. Then it's decided. Su Yang, take care of him these days and don't hit him at this time, Li Feichuan warned. Su Yang smiled and promised, don't worry, wife, I'm measured. Sister, brother-in-law, it's really boring. I get annoyed when I see this little kid. Li Kekai next to her was shocked when she was called young, so she said, you take him to play, Tong Tong, I will take you to eat steak. Zhou Yutong was also very annoyed with Suzeng. Before leaving, he looked at Suzeng and said angrily, little one, you are the ugliest one. You are blind at such a young age. How pitiful. Why bother with him? Let's go. In this way, Li Kekai and Zhou Yutong left the scene together. TCH, I can't afford it. Didn't I just tell a few truths? That's all. Suzeng curled his lips and said. Okay, stop talking too much, be careful of getting beaten, and just say no in a nice way next time. Concubine Li smiled and then said, Suzeng, it's almost noon, are you hungry? Hungry, Sister Feichuan, I'm starving to death. Hearing this, Suzeng suddenly became excited and said excitedly, I came to Jiangbei this time just because I want to eat all the delicious food in Jiangbei. Giggle, whatever you want to eat, sister will take you there, Concubine Li said with a smile. Hot pot. Suzeng thought for a while, and then said, I heard that there is a delicious hot pot in Jiangbei. It seems to be called Sichuan flavor. Sister Feichuan, can you take me there? Okay, I like hot pot too. Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, we are really destined. I didn't expect that we have common interests. Su Yang, let's go to Sichuan and Sichuan. By the way, why are you here? Didn't you drive? Li Feichuan asked curiously. No. Su Yang smiled and said, take a taxi, it's not far from Sichuan and Sichuan anyway. Okay. Li Feichuan nodded, and then the three of them hailed a taxi and soon arrived at Sichuan Flavor Hot Pot restaurant. Can you eat spicy food? Li Feichuan asked Suzeng after sitting down. Yes, my mother said that a man who eats spicy food can take charge of the family. I am especially good at spicy food. Suzeng nodded seriously. Su Yang struck and said, let's see what you can do. Don't make me cry later. Cut. Suzeng curled his lips, rolled his eyes at Su Yang, and ignored Su Yang. In about 10 minutes, the water in the Yuan Yang pot was boiling hot, and all the vegetables and meat ordered were served. It is worth mentioning that Suzeng likes to eat cilantro very much. He ordered 2 or 3 portions, and the first chopstick he used was cilantro. Honey, don't go. He deserves it. He was caught lifting his skirt. Let him suffer, so as not to harm others. Su Yang's face turned dark. He took a piece of mutton roll and didn't know whether to eat it or not. Swish, swish, swish. Who? Su Yang asked curiously. Like a fart. In an instant, everyone's eyes in the hot pot restaurant fell on Su Yang. Su Yang stopped, and then couldn't help but laugh, but, this little guy has poor eyesight, and he can do it even if he is so fat and ugly. It's cool and delicious. Su Yang, who had been gloating about his misfortune with a smile on his face, instantly turned to stone. You little gangster, you are so brave, you actually dare to lift my skirt. This Suzeng doesn't make anyone worry even for a moment. Seeing this, Concubine Li held her forehead, and then got up to help Suzeng out of trouble. At this moment. In addition, the Su family's crisis has not been resolved, so this idea was temporarily abandoned. Okay, Li Feichuan nodded, and then said with a smile, actually, I not only miss Zhang Shuer, but also Yu. This time is just right, let's take them to Jiangbei, okay. Perhaps it was because he drank too much, but after 10 minutes of eating, Suzeng went to the toilet. Concubine Li Xian said with a smile, I think she looks very much like Zhang Shue'er, especially her eyes, and they both like to eat coriander. Su Yang nodded and smiled softly, after these few days of busy work, I will take you to find her. Su Yang agreed, having already had this plan in mind. At this moment, a woman's angry voice suddenly came from the distance. Ha ha! My darn thing! Zhang Shue'er. The fat woman is in her 30s and weighs at least 200 pounds. She is particularly angry at the moment. But knowing that Zhang Shue'er was the Snow Queen of Qianshan, Su Yang felt unsure. No problem. Su Yang directly denied it, he is just a little scoundrel. How could he be like Zhang Shue'er? Wife, I have found some information about Zhang Shue'er. She is living a good life now. Really? Do you know which city she is in? Li Feixuan asked excitedly. Su Xing, who was surrounded by a group of people, cried in fear, and said pitifully, Sister, I didn't want to do it either. I was forced. It was my elder brother who ordered me to do this. He said he likes you, so, you want me to lift your skirt. If I don't lift it, he will hit me. Weevu, brother, come and save me. I have done what you said, you can't ignore me. When Su Yang and concubine Li heard the words, they immediately moved their eyes to look over, only to find that Su Xing was grabbed by the wrist by a fat woman. Brother, I went to the toilet to poop. I pooped in circles. I think I can poop several times this time. You eat slowly and don't be affected by me. Su Xing looked at Su Yang and said emphatically. Emphasize the shape and weight of the shit. Li Feixuan was amused and watched Su Xing walk away, then whispered, Su Yang, do you think he looks a lot like the same person? Su Xing started to eat. After a while, he had almost eaten up all the coriander and a lot of meat. As he said that, Su Xing cast a look for help at Su Yang. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 265. Feeling the attention of everyone, Su Yang felt numb, his scalp was numb, and his whole body felt bad. He wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl in. At the same time, he became angry with shame and glared at Su Xing fiercely. What did you say? Your elder brother asked you to do this. At this moment, when the fat woman heard this, she became furious and gritted her teeth and said, there are so many women who like me. Your elder brother is so despicable to be so shameless. As she said that, the fat woman followed Su Xing's gaze and looked over. Then she pointed at Su Yang and asked, Kid, is he your eldest brother? Uh-huh. While wiping her tears, Su Xing cried and said, Sister, I also know that this is wrong. I apologize to you on behalf of my elder brother. It hurts so much when you catch me. Can you let me go? I'm sorry, kid, this matter has nothing to do with you. I will definitely not embarrass you. The fat woman apologized first, then let go of Su Xing's hand, strode towards Su Yang, and said coldly, You bitch, you are really nothing. You actually use a child to satisfy the dark thoughts in your heart. Why don't you die? That. Su Yang stood up, touched the bridge of his nose, and explained, Sister, I think you may have misunderstood. Lifting up your skirt is the little one's own behavior and has nothing to do with me. He wronged me. You fart. The fat woman pinched her waist with both hands and cursed directly, if such a young child has any bad thoughts, it must be your instigation. If you still don't admit it now, if you want a 4 or 5-year-old child to take the blame for you, you are still not a man. Su Yang smiled helplessly and didn't know how to refute for a while. Yes. What kind of bad thoughts can a 4-year-old child have? Damn it, I can't explain it now. Humph, you despicable bitch, I'm going to call the police right now and send you to jail, the fat woman said unforgivingly, and immediately took out her cell phone. Big sister. At this time, Su Xing came over and begged, My eldest brother was also temporarily confused. Don't be as knowledgeable as him. Please spare him this time. I beg you. Okay, okay, kid, I'll give you this face. When the fat woman heard Suzing's milky plea, she immediately softened her heart. Then she glared at Su Yang and gritted her teeth and said, "Humph, how old are you? There is no sensible child yet, so it's not embarrassing." Su Yang. Damn it. Little thing, hello green tea. It was obviously you who framed me, but now you are helping me put in a good word? What the hell? I thank you. Su Yang's face was dark and he wanted to cry but had no tears. Sister, you are so kind. My eldest brother must know that he was wrong. He is just embarrassed to say it. He will definitely not let me do such a thing next time. Suzing looked at the fat woman and said innocently, also, eldest sister, actually you can't blame my eldest brother for this. The main reason is that you are so beautiful that you can dazzle the whole country. You are as beautiful as the fish and the geese are falling. The beauty of the country is fragrant and the flowers are ashamed when the moon is closed. Suzing said seriously with a small face, my eldest brother was attracted by your beauty when he saw you for the first time. He couldn't help himself. All he could think about was you. He was dazzled by your beauty. Worry. I am attracted by her beauty? Still so incapable of extricating yourself? Suzing, doesn't your conscience hurt when you say this? Su Yang had a question mark on his face. This was the first time he was so confused. Ah, am I so good looking? At this moment, the fat woman was so flattered that she looked at her figure and felt a little unconfident. Have. Suzing said, sister, although you are a bit fat and not a beauty in the eyes of ordinary people, you don't know that my eldest brother has a unique taste since he was a child, and he is just like you. My eldest brother doesn't even look at the kind of thin girl. He only likes yours. Suzing whispered, tell you secretly, big sister, my eldest brother is still single at the moment. He has really good character and is a pure and honest man. This time, he was just confused and asked me to lift your skirt. I think you guys, the two of us, can develop. It would be great if you could be my sister-in-law. This. When the fat woman heard this, her eyes fell on Su Yang again. Suddenly she found that the man in front of her was handsome and tall. She immediately thought about it, her chubby face turned red, and she whispered, I'll wait for you at the cafe next door, we can have a chat, I'm also interested in you. The fat woman became shy and felt very embarrassed. After leaving a word, she immediately ran out of the hot pot restaurant. Okay, lovers will eventually get married, let's all disperse. Seeing this, Suzing seemed to have accomplished something big, and waved his hand to signal the crowd to disperse. You can't tell, this person has really unique taste. Tisk, 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 this young man knows how to play. Haha, I don't know if he can bear that fat woman. She will probably be crushed to tears in a few or two times, right? Nowadays, there are all kinds of handsome guys. They don't like beautiful women, but they want to fall in love with a fat woman who weighs more than 200 pounds. I don't like Sister Li. The onlookers talked non-stop, cast strange looks at Su Yang, and then returned to their respective positions. Bah, you know nothing. Don't you know that beauty is in the eye of the beholder? In my eldest brother's eyes, the fat sister just now is 11 za. No, she is more beautiful than 11 za. Suzing yelled at those people, then looked at Su Yang, and said in a righteous tone, brother, don't worry, just pursue true love, don't care about the eyes of the world, if they dare to look at you differently again look at you, I'll fight them. Is it? The corner of Su Yang's mouth twitched, and then he stared at Suzing fiercely, and said with a smile, little one, direct and act by yourself, is it fun? What are you talking about? I'm not playing around. I'm looking for a partner for you. Suzing said seriously, I observed the fat sister just now carefully. She is very fertile. She is simply the best. You should cherish her. Shut up. What a fat sister, she's almost old enough to be your grandma, what a mess. Su Yang was about to go crazy and strode forward, intending to give Suzing a severe lesson. But, however, Suzing trotted away and hid behind Li Feixuan, saying aggrievedly, Brother, I'm helping you out of kindness, but you can't burn bridges if you don't like it. At worst, I'll find you a beautiful one next time. Oh no, no need. Today I want you to see what heavy love is. Su Yang's face was extremely dark, and he walked towards Suzing with a fierce look. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 266. Okay Su Yang, Zing is just joking with you. I think it's quite funny. Don't be angry. Concubine Li Xian smiled and started to stop her. Honey, you can't spoil this kid, otherwise he will definitely cause more trouble. Su Yang gritted his teeth. Isn't it because you are by my side? Next time he makes a mistake, just teach him a lesson. Concubine Li smiled and said, this time, let's forget it. Oh well. Seeing Li Feixuan's active defense, Su Yang had no choice but to nod. Then his eyes fell on Suzing and said coldly, Suzing, I will write down this account first. You'd better not cause trouble again, otherwise you will be punished with multiple crimes. I won't even let you cry. Okay big brother, I understand. Suzing was very stubborn. Just now he was afraid that Su Yang would beat him, but now he said with a playful smile, brother, let's continue eating hot pot. Eat shit. Su Yang raised his head and glanced through the window at the cafe next door, only to find that the fat woman was sitting by the window, looking at him with a smile on her face, and even waved to say hello to him. Su Yang's expression changed drastically, and he suddenly felt a chill. He urged, damn it, she's taking it seriously. Let's go home quickly. Giggle. Li Feixuan couldn't help laughing. Next, the three people paid and left the hot pot restaurant, hailed a taxi, and fled in a hurry. Handsome boy, don't leave. I like you too. You are my food. I can eat cold food today. My ID card is also in my handbag. Don't leave. After the three of them left, the fat woman chased them out of the cafe and looked at the direction the taxi was leaving with a look of regret on her face. At this moment, Wanan, Jufeng Mountain. At the foot of the main peak, I don't know when a tombstone was erected. It says, Su Yang's tomb. The signature in the lower right corner is his wife Qian Shanswili, followed by the date. The grave must have been recently dug, and it was obvious that the surrounding soil had just been renovated. In front of the tombstone, fruits and meats are neatly placed, as well as an incense burner for burning incense. At this moment, Su Yu hugged a rag doll and came to the tombstone alone, her pink and jade face full of sadness. Dad. Su Yu's eyes fell on the tombstone, tears burst out instantly, and Liwa said with rain, Yu misses you so much, I really miss you. Yu left her favorite doll to you. You see how much she cares about you. She won't let me touch this doll. Dad, Ziobai, goodbye, I'll see you again in a few days. As for Zing, although he has received very little skill, he has also stepped into the realm of a master. Su Yang, I came here secretly today. I didn't want my mother to know that I was here, otherwise she would be sad too. Originally, Qian Shangshu wanted to cover up her sadness with a smile, but she smiled, and when her nose became sore, she burst into tears and murmured, 10 years of life and death, without thinking, the most unforgettable, Su Yang. That's his lifeline. It was with the help of the treasure that he was able to suppress the other 8 sections. Zing carries the treasure. Unless old antique takes action, no one can hurt him. As she spoke, Suyuyu gently touched the rag doll in her arms and choked with sobs. Xiaobai, although I can't bear to leave you, I don't want my father to be lonely. Qian Shangxiu continued, fortunately, at the critical moment, my grandma took action and dedicated all her more than 100 years of skills to Yu and Zing. Besides, this weird guy Zing stole my grandfather's treasure. Su Yang, it would be great if you were still alive. It's all my fault. If I had arrived earlier that day, you wouldn't have. Forget it, just relax down there and don't have any ties. I'm taking good care of your 2 children. Yu is the most exaggerated. The power of Tianzong surges in her body. It is very powerful and often leaks out automatically. After saying that, Su Yu placed the doll in front of the tombstone and left reluctantly. Why? Qian Shangxiu smiled softly and said, perhaps you don't know that I almost died when I gave birth 4 years ago. Qian Shangxiu said, running away from home is not a big deal or a small matter. After sighing with emotion, Qian Shangxiu's figure flickered and appeared in front of the tombstone in an instant. Qian Shangxiu smiled and said, the old man has lost his treasure in the past few days and has almost gone crazy with anxiety. He has been looking for traces of zinc and went down the mountain to look for it himself. It is estimated that zinc will be found soon. Qian Shangxiu seemed to have thought of something, so he said, by the way, I forgot to tell you. Your son Suzing has grown up now. He actually dared to run away from home at a young age. He didn't learn from the good ones, but just learned some irrelevant things. Normally in Zhifeng Mountain, he would cause trouble for me all day long. The twins were born prematurely. Not only did I almost die, but so did your 2 children. Qian Shangxiu continued, in order to suppress her demonic nature, my grandfather took action and sealed the true energy in her body. Only in critical moments will the true energy automatically protect her body. Qian Shangxiu smiled and said, this time he left a video saying that he wanted to travel around the city. There must be no danger. Watching Su Yu walk away, Qian Shangxiu sighed and said, Yu, this kid, has only been with Su Yang for a few days, but he didn't expect to have such deep feelings for Su Yang. Maybe this is because blood is thicker than water. Perhaps due to the transfer of skills, Yu has 2 personalities. Under normal conditions, she is a well-behaved and quiet little girl, but once her true energy is leaked, her eyes will turn red, and her hair will also turn red, and she will become a raging little devil. But what she didn't know was that Qian Shangxiu already knew that she was here and was watching silently from a distance. I know that if I hit him, you know it, and you will definitely feel sorry for me. After all, he is your biological son, but there is nothing you can do about it. If you don't polish it, you can't make it. However, don't worry too much. Although your son is only 4 years old, he has the strength of a martial arts master. Among them, Yo-Yo is in the greatest danger, so almost all of my grandma's skills were given to Yo-Yo. As for Zing, she only got 1000%. This time I brought my favorite rag doll here. With it accompanying you, you will definitely not be alone there. Qian Shangxiu said with a smile, so, when Yo-Yo and Zing were born, they had powers beyond ordinary people. She looked at Su Yang's tombstone with a complicated expression and her eyes gradually became moist. You should talk to my dad more. He is very boring alone. Don't worry, I will come to visit you often. Su Yang, when Grandpa takes Zing back to Zhifeng Mountain, I will bring him to your tombstone and teach him a lesson in front of you. Qian Shangxiu took a deep breath and said with a wry smile, this is all fate. It is destined that you and I will not be destined. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 267. At this moment, Su Yang, Su Zing, and Li Feixuan took a taxi and arrived at the riverside villa. Damn it, brother, is this where you live? It's so big and beautiful. Su Zing walked into the living room and saw the beautifully decorated interior. He immediately sat on the sofa and said with bright eyes, "It's comfortable. It's soft and fluffy. It's much more comfortable than my home." Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, "Zing, is your home environment very bad?" "I can't say it's bad, I can only say it's very bad." Su Zing said truthfully, "I have lived in the mountains since I was a child. There is no sofa at home. I have only seen this thing on TV." After saying that, Su Zing looked at Su Yang and said with a flattering smile, "Brother, I have decided to follow you to the death from now on. I am willing to be your most loyal thug and settle all kinds of trivial matters for you. You can't chase me away. Let's go." Hearing this, Su Yang raised a playful smile and said meaningfully, "As long as you don't take the initiative to leave, I will definitely not drive you away." "Haha, good brother, you are indeed my good brother." "Hey, wait, brother, why is there something wrong with your expression?" Su Zing saw Su Yang's weird smile and had a vague premonition of uneasiness. "Su Yang, I have to go to school this afternoon. I won't accompany you. You have to take good care of Zeng." Li Feixuan smiled softly, then looked at Su Zing and said, "Zeng, listen to your brother at home. I'm leaving and will take you to eat delicious food tonight." "Honey, let me give it to you." Su Yang smiled. "No, I'll just take a taxi to school." Li Feixuan rejected Su Yang and strode out of the living room. "Okay, little one, there are only two of us at home now, he he he." After watching Li Feixuan walk away, Su Yang looked at Su Zing, and the smile on his face gradually turned cold. Su Zing was stared at by Su Yang and his whole body was hairy. He swallowed in fear and shouted while running, "Sister Feixuan, wait for me, I want to go to school with you, woo." But before he could finish his words, Su Yang used his close proximity and came to him in an instant, covering his mouth. Immediately afterwards, Su Yang took off Su Zing's pants and without any hesitation, he raised his hand and struck him down. Snapped. 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 "Damn it, you tricked me and framed me so much, you have so many ideas. Ouch, it hurts. Brother, stop fighting. I was wrong. Didn't I apologize to you? If apologizing is useful, what else can I do with my hands? Damn it, Su Yang, you little trash, you can't afford to play with me, but you actually hold a grudge. Worry, am I a little trash? Okay, little one, if I don't beat you to pieces today, I will be your son. TCH, I don't have a son as old as you. Damn, have you ever been beaten severely? I'm going to let you experience what it feels like to have your butt blossom." No, brother, don't hit me. I'm still a child. You'll hurt me if you do this. Go away, you've already reached the master level. You're thick-skinned and invulnerable to beatings. Don't try to win my sympathy." Su Yang raised his hand and slapped him. "Hiss, Su Yang, try hitting me again. I promise to tell Sister Feixuan that if she sees me injured, she will definitely be angry with you." "Haha, don't threaten me with this. Don't worry, I have superb medical skills. After spanking you, I will heal your butt without leaving any scars." "Fuck, Su Yang, you are a real dog, ah." In the next 10 minutes, Su Zing's screams echoed in the villa, one after another, intermittently. At the same time, the place of Zen. Zhang's Honggaiu, who has the background of Yaoang Palace, has finished communicating with Shi Hehan, the master of Mount Tai. The two stood at the foot of Mount Tai, and Shi Hehan personally saw off Zhang's Honggaiu. At this time, the person in front of Zhang's Honggaiu is the master of Mount Tai, Shi Hehan. He was dressed in white. Although he was over 100 years old, he looked like he was about 60 and did not look senile. Shi Hehan has a tall figure, standing with his hands behind his back, his hair is half gray and half white, and he has an extraordinary bearing. Brother Zhang, I have already noticed the problem you mentioned, but I was afraid that Yunfei would be sad, so I didn't send anyone to investigate. At this moment, Shi Hehan sighed, and then continued, however, since he is dead, forget it. When I have a chance, I will tell Yunfei and ask him not to pursue it any further. Brother Shi, what are you sighing for? Zhang Zhongyao stroked his beard and smiled, although you have lost an unrelated grandson, you have gained a gifted grandson. This is something to be happy about. Why? Shi Hehan sighed again, with a trace of regret in his eyes, although Shi Xian is not my biological grandson, I watched him grow up with my own eyes. A few days ago, Yunfei begged me hard, and I was about to give him a chance, but I didn't expect now, heaven and man are separated forever. However, this is his own fault. I told everyone in Taishan 5 years ago that no one is allowed to go to Jiangbei, let alone cause trouble for the Su family. Shi Hehan continued, but Shi Xian refused to listen. The last time he went to Jiangbei secretly, he didn't cause any serious trouble, so I turned a blind eye. Who would have thought that this time, he actually encouraged my bad disciple Duan. The whole world will destroy the Su family together, and we will bring the blame upon ourselves. By the way, when it comes to this, Brother Zhang, I'm very curious. Shi Hehan looked at Zhang Zhongyao and asked doubtfully, my grandson Su Yang, is it really like you said that he set foot in Tianzong in his early 20s? I don't know if he has set foot in Tianzong. That little guy hides very deeply and uses weird energy. I'm sure it's not ordinary qi, so I can't be sure of his realm. Zhang Zhongyao smiled and said, but what is certain is that Su Yang has the strength to obliterate the early stage of Tianzong, and he must have other means. Even the masters of the later stage of Tianzong are willing to be his slaves. In fact, Zhang Zhongyao had already guessed this method. Su Yang must be able to use the energy stone to help others break through. Therefore, in the later stage of Tianzong, he would willingly surrender. But Zhang Zhongyao did not tell Shi Hehan the news, and planned to hide it for a while to prevent Shi Hehan from being too interested in Su Yang and stealing people from him now. Haha, from what you said, my cheap grandson is really pretty good. Shi Hehan smiled, but then his face darkened. However, I still can't forgive Su Shenbing for what happened back then. Also, I don't want to see anyone from the Su family, no matter how outstanding he is, and are not qualified to enter the place of Zen. Brother Shi. Hearing this, Zhang Zhongyao comforted him and said, let the past matter go by him. Besides, there is no need to involve children in adults' matters. Su Yang is your grandson. Why? Shi Hehan was silent for a moment, and finally sighed again, what you said makes sense, so be it, Brother Zhang, please go back and tell Su Yang that if you want to see her mother, you can participate in the 100 sex martial arts competition. As long as he can win the championship in the 100 sex martial arts competition, I will accept him and allow him to see his mother. Shi Hehan murmured, back then, Su Shenbing destroyed the genius I cultivated with my own hands. It was my hard work. If he wants to put an end to the past, he must give me a genius that can compete with him. After leaving a sentence behind, Shi Hehan had a complicated expression and disappeared directly. Do the 100 sex no martial arts? He. This is an unexpected surprise. I was worried about how to convince the palace master to participate, but I didn't expect that Shi Hehan gave a reason that the palace master couldn't refuse. For so many years, every 100 sex martial arts competition has nothing to do with our Medicine King Palace, but this time is different. Perhaps, Medicine King Palace will turn around. Zhang Zhongyao showed a smile, and then his figure quickly disappeared. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 268. It has been more than 1,000 years since the Yaoang Palace was established. The founder was Sun Simiao, the king of medicine. The reason why the Medicine King Palace was established back then was because doctors were persecuted by various forces and their status in the ancient martial arts world was very low. After the establishment of Yaoang Palace, doctors from all over the world gathered together to keep warm, including many famous old doctors. Everyone is united and shares the same hatred against the enemy. When faced with oppression, we respond with the same voice, that is, we will not obey until we die. As mentioned before, the ancient martial arts world cannot do without doctors, so the forces that oppressed doctors gradually began to converge, and over time they reached a consensus and spent money to buy elixirs and healing medicines developed by doctors. But, although the founder, Sun Simiao, was a doctor with superb medical skills and was the best in the world, his talent in martial arts was mediocre. From ancient times to the present, there has been no one in the Medicine King Palace who can truly match the powerful background of the three major forces, so he is always inferior to others. In the end, he had to compromise with the three major forces and must pay tribute to the three major forces for cultivation materials every year. The three major forces claimed to the outside world that those supplies were protection money and that they would protect all the doctors in the Medicine King Palace. In this way, Yaoang Palace has existed in the ancient martial arts world for more than 1,000 years with a special status. In the past, the three major forces did their best to maintain the safety of the Medicine King Palace. However, in recent years, there has been an undercurrent in the ancient martial arts world, and the three major forces have their own agendas and are all trying to preserve their strength. As a result, several first-class sects united and obtained many benefits from the Medicine King Palace. Zhang Honghai once found the leaders of the three major forces and wanted to ask them to come forward to punish those first-class sects. However, the three major forces only agreed superficially, and no one had the intention to step forward. Zhang Honghai fully understood that the Medicine King Palace must cultivate its own strongest foundation. The 100 sects martial arts competition is held once every 10 years, and all sect disciples under the age of 40 can participate. As a well-known force in the ancient martial arts world, Yaoang Palace receives invitations every time. However, the Medicine King Palace does not have any capable young talents at all. In every 100 sect martial arts competitions, the Medicine King Palace has been the laughingstock of the ancient martial arts world. Almost all the geniuses it has sent will be eliminated in the first round. But this year, Zhang Honghai is full of confidence. At this time, Riverside Villa. Su Yang beat Su Xing violently, and the little guy finally calmed down. He stood in front of Su Yang cautiously, with fear in his eyes. Su Xing, I beat you, do you hate me? At this time, Su Yang asked with a smile. Hatred. Su Xing almost told the truth, but after realizing it, he quickly changed his words, hate is impossible. Brother, you hit me for my own good. I understand. I hope you can hit me often, so that I can become the leader of the country. I will serve the country in the future, sacrifice my life for the country, and spread. Stop it. Su Yang raised his hand to interrupt, and then said with a dark face, I'm just asking you if you hate me, why do you go so far? Big brother, I don't hate you, Su Xing said seriously. That's pretty much it? Su Yang nodded with satisfaction, and then asked, tell me about your situation. Where are you from? Is Su Xing your real name? To be honest, brother, my real name is Su Xing. It was my mother's name. She hoped that from now on, I could look down on the 9 heavens and 10 earths and dominate the billions of miles of galaxies, Su Xing said proudly. Haha, your mother has high expectations for you. Su Yang smiled softly, and then asked, where is your father? He shouldn't be as fierce as you say, right? I don't have a father. Suzing's eyes flashed with sorrow, and then he forced a smile and said, "No, I should say that I had a father, but he died a few days ago." When Su Yang heard this and saw Suzing's expression, he suddenly felt guilty. "Sorry, I mentioned your sadness." "Hey, brother, if you think so, you're wrong. I won't be sad if my dad dies. I even want to set off firecrackers to celebrate." Su Yang frowned slightly and said, "Then you are really a filial son of China." "Brother, you don't know, I have never met Dad and have no feelings for him." Suzing rarely said seriously, "As for the moment I felt sad just now, it was because I thought of my mother and sister. My father died and they were sad. They were unhappy, so I felt sad." Su Yang nodded and did not continue the topic to prevent Suzing from feeling depressed. Then, he changed the subject and said, "Suzing, what's the matter with your strength? At such a young age, you have actually entered the realm of a grandmaster. Brother, haven't you already guessed that I am indeed from the ancient martial arts sect and live in southern Anhui?" Suzing responded, "I was born prematurely and almost died when I was born. Fortunately, my great-grandmother had an enlightenment and passed on her skills to me. I was protected by my true energy, so I was able to survive. As for my specific identity, brother, it's not convenient to say. I have to have some privacy, right? You kid, you are a thief." Su Yang glanced at Suzing and did not ask any further questions. "Brother, I'm very curious." At this moment, Suzing looked at Su Yang and couldn't help but ask, "I'm already so strong, why can you beat me down? My mother said there aren't many masters in the city. Are you also from the ancient martial arts world?" "I refuse to answer. I will answer your question when you tell me your true origin." Su Yang smiled and then said, "Okay, this villa has many rooms. You can choose a room to rest. By the way, wait a moment and I will heal the injury on your butt. Don't bother me, brother. I brought everything with me when I went out this time. There is golden sore medicine in my bag. It can be effective for ordinary wounds with just one application." Suzing showed a smile, then groped for a while and took out a palm-sized glass bottle from the baggage he carried with him. "Haha, you are very well prepared." Su Yang couldn't help laughing. "That's necessary. When you run away from home, your quality of life cannot be reduced. You can have everything you need, including milk bottles, milk powder, bear biscuits." He Suzing said with a proud smile. "Okay, you can take care of the injury yourself. I won't interfere. I have something to do and need to leave the villa. Don't wander around. I will come back with Fei Xian in the evening and take you to eat." Su Yang said. Suzing smiled and said, "Brother Haole, just go and do your work and leave me alone." Su Yang nodded lightly, then strode out of the living room and drove straight to the Su family manor. Now that Grandpa and Dad are paralyzed in bed, the Su family needs Su Yang to take charge of the overall situation. He has to go back and take a look, at least to stabilize the hearts of the Su family. After watching Su Yang drive away, Suzing's expression immediately became arrogant. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 269. Ba, Su Yang, just wait for me. Once I find out what happened to concubine Li, I will never let you go." Suzing whispered in a low voice, and then spread his palm. On his small hand, golden light suddenly shone, and a round object the size of a walnut loomed. "Grandpa's treasure is mysterious and unpredictable. Grandpa regards it as more important than his own life, and it is also because of this that Grandpa can dominate the 9 sections. However, in front of Li Fixuan, this treasure is actually very fearful." "Why?" Suzing guessed. Could it be that Li Fixuan has something in her body that can suppress the treasure? It's impossible. Li Feixuan is just an ordinary person, and there is no real energy fluctuation in her body. How can she possess something beyond the treasure? Strange, so strange, I must figure this out. Suzing made up his mind and began to visit the riverside villa. He didn't lie just now. This was his first time in the city. He had only seen sofas and various electrical appliances on TV before. Suzing first used the remote control to turn on the LCD TV, and then turned on the crystal lamp in the living room. He found it particularly novel. After having fun, he walked up the stairs again, visited the second floor, and then went to the third floor. Suzing looked at several rooms on the third floor, and finally planned to find a room on the second floor to rest. But at this moment, his footsteps suddenly stopped, and his eyes fell on the bedside table in the room on the right. I saw a stage above, and inside the stage was a photo of two people. Suyuyu. Suzing quickly approached, picked up the photo on the bedside table, and looked at it carefully. His little face suddenly became complicated. Because the girl in the photo is indeed Suyuyu, and the other person turns out to be Su Yang. This photo was taken by Su Yang holding Suyuyu. The two of them were smiling and looked very happy. Suyuyu came to Jiangbei and lived with my short-lived father for a few days. Why did she take a photo with Su Yang? Su Yang, his name is also Su Yang. Fuck. Suzing suddenly had an idea and said in shock, this Su Yang, could he be my good-for-nothing dad? It's not right. Didn't mom say that dad is already dead? It's impossible for him to be alive and well. Suzing quickly denied his guess, but the photo in his hand made him shaken. After thinking about it, Suzing took out a smartphone from his bag. This was the only electronic product he was proficient in the mountains. There were various social software installed on his mobile phone. Suzing often used his mobile phone to hook up with young ladies. I guess those ladies on Tantan and Momo never dreamed that they would be chatting with 4-year-old children. At this time, Suzing opened WeChat, hesitated for a few seconds, and finally sent a message to Suyuyu. Sister, are you here? Ding dong. A few seconds later, Suyuyu replied, I am my sister. Elder sister. Suzing, okay, sister, you are my sister, okay. I have something to ask you for. Suyuyu, what? By the way, where have you been? Do you know that my great-grandfather has gone down the mountain to look for you? You'd better go home quickly, or you won't be able to eat your good fruits. Suzing, damn, Grandpa moved so fast. Forget it, we'll talk about this later. Yo, I'll show you a photo. See if it looks familiar to you. Suyuyu, doubts degree. Sister, I'm joking with you, don't worry, I will definitely bring this table back to you. Suzing was immediately frightened and turned against her faster than turning the page in a book. No child does not long for his father's love, and Suzing does the same. Next, Suzing placed the table on the bedside table, took a photo with his mobile phone, sent it to Suyuyu, and then asked, Yuyu, who is the man in the photo? I want to go to the playground too. You dare. On the other side, Suyuyu was silent for a long time, and then replied, Suzing, why did you see this stage? Have you gone to Jiangbei? Just now he wished that Su Yang would get out of here, but now he was actually looking forward to Su Yang coming back soon. Actually. Suyuyu, you are dreaming, I will not give you the photo, I will destroy it now, Suzing said in a very unscrupulous manner. Suzing did not answer, but asked, Yuyu, good sister, can you tell me who the man in the photo is? Worry. But isn't he dead? Why is he still alive? Could it be that my mother made a mistake? Suzing was different from Suyuyu. He was arrogant. Naturally, he felt that Su Yang was not worthy of being his father, so he always refused to acknowledge Su Yang. Sure. Thinking of this, Suzing smiled and felt particularly happy. At this moment, Suzing had his head drooped, looking very depressed, but the corners of his mouth inadvertently raised, as if he was very happy. Suyuyo sent several voice messages in succession, but Suzing didn't listen and put the phone away with a complicated expression. Really cheap daddy. Su Yang, who knocked my brains out and spanked me, is actually my biological father. I even called him brother before. What's this? But from the information he got, his father was an ordinary person, and he was uneducated and unskilled. But now that Suzing has confirmed Su Yang's identity and knows that Su Yang can beat him up, his mentality has changed slightly. Also, isn't Father Su Yang a loser? Why is he so strong? He can beat me easily. Suzing came back to his senses, then moved his eyes and smiled playfully, but, Suyuyo, what should you call me? That's pretty much it. By the way, why did you go to Jiangbei? Do you also miss your dad and want to know about his past? Suzing, what have you been doing? Now my dad is dead. Suyuyo made a voice call and threatened angrily, if you destroy the photo, I will tell my mother that you are in Jiangbei Villa and ask her to send someone to catch you. It seems pretty good to have such an old man. Suzing, are you listening? Can you bring me the photo? At this time, Suyuyo sent another voice message. Suzing had a dark face and muttered in a low voice, however, let me tell you something, this cheap old man is really not a waste, he is quite strong, but it is different from what I imagined. Oh shit. At the very least, he is qualified to be my father, so he won't be looked down upon by me. This is unreasonable. Suzing said depressedly, I originally planned to find an opportunity to use the treasure to beat him up, but now that I know he is my father, how can I take revenge? Brother Zing, please, Suyuyo said coquettishly without any hesitation. Suyuyo's voice said, he is dad. This photo was taken by Teacher Lee when I went to the amusement park with my dad. Teacher Lee also made the photo into a table and put it on the bedside table where I sleep. Before, Suzing, you were at Dad's villa, right? Can you take the photos back to Jufeng Mountain? This is the only memory Dad left for me, Suzing, please. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 270. Half an hour later. Su Yang drove to the Su family manor. Young master. As soon as they walked in, Guoyi and Xiaoting came up to them and greeted them respectfully. Especially Xiaoting, who absorbed the energy left by Su Yang and has reached the realm of a master just like Guoyi. Only now did Xiaoting know that his eldest young master was so terrifying. Not only was he the rumored young earth sect Su Xiantian, but he also had the means to help others improve their strength. It was simply shocking. Su Yang looked at Xiaoting and Guoyi, and then asked, how are my father and grandfather? The head of the family and the master are recuperating in the secret room, and their emotions are quite stable, Xiaoting responded respectfully. That's good. Su Yang nodded, then asked, what about the Su family, are the secret guards talking about anything behind their backs? This. Xiaoting paused, not knowing how to answer. Guoyi, who was next to him, spoke bluntly and said, young master, now the head of the family and the master have been severely injured by a mysterious master. At that time, the Su family had no power to fight back. The Su family's secret guards were all at the scene. It is definitely impossible to say that there was no discussion afterwards. Yes, there are already 7 or 8 secret guards who have become deserters and secretly left Jiangbei. Although the remaining 49 secret guards have some complaints, there is no doubt about their loyalty to the Su family and they chose to stay. Guoyi asked, young master, if we investigate those escaped secret guards, we will definitely be able to find out their whereabouts. Do we need to capture them? No need. When Su Yang heard this, he did not get angry, but smiled softly. My heart is no longer in the Su family, what's the use of catching him back? Besides, they will soon know that this is the most regretful decision they have ever made. Xiaoting and Guo Yi immediately summon the remaining 49 secret guards and gather here. The corner of Su Yang's mouth raised and he said, in the past few days, they worked hard to protect the Su family. Now it's time to distribute rewards. I want all of these 49 people to step into the realm of masters, form a team with strong combat effectiveness, and teach them the top secret techniques of combined attack. Yes. Guo Yi was immediately overjoyed, agreed respectfully, and then went down to summon the secret guards. At this time, only Su Yang and Xiaoting were left at the scene. Young master. Xiaoting hesitated, and finally said with a look of shame on his face, my subordinates didn't know your strength before, so they neglected you. I hope you. Haha, okay, Xiaoting, I understand what you mean, don't say any more. Su Yang smiled softly and said, I am not that stingy person. I can see your loyalty to the Su family very clearly. There is no need to mention those things again. The eldest young master is magnanimous, and I will remember it in my heart. From now on, I will follow you to the death, Xiaoting said gratefully. Su Yang nodded slightly and did not continue the topic. A few minutes later, all the Su family secret guards were summoned by Guo Yi. A total of 49, not one more, not one less. I've met the young master. Many secret guards knelt down on one knee at the same time and greeted each other in unison. The scene was a bit shocking. Get up. Su Yang raised his hand and signaled the secret guard to stand up. Then he looked around at everyone and smiled softly. Everyone, the Su family encountered a disaster a few days ago. You were all present and were even seriously injured as a result. I am here to say to you a thank you. You're welcome, young master. It is my duty to dedicate myself to the Su family. That's right, if you eat the Su family's food, you must protect the Su family. The eldest young master does not need to see anyone outside. I followed Su Shui on the battlefield. When Su Shui retired, thanks to Su Shui, he was willing to take me in and brought me to Jiangbei. In this life, I will always be a member of the Su family. Yes, you are a member of the Su family when you are born, and you are a ghost of the Su family when you die. I am a member of the Su family in life, and a ghost of the Su family in death. 49 Su family secret guards were impassioned and kept repeating one sentence. Stop. Su Yang was very moved, raised his hand to stop, and then said, everyone, I have seen your loyalty to the Su family. I came to you today because I want you to make a choice. In the future, the crises of the Su family will only increase, and the enemies will only become stronger and stronger. Su Yang said calmly, if any of you want to leave, I will not stop you. I will even distribute severance pay at the rate of 1 million per person. If you continue to stay in the Su family, you will live a life of licking blood from the edge of a knife. You may live a precarious life today, or maybe tomorrow, you may become a corpse. Su Yang said seriously, okay, now you can make a choice. As soon as these words came out, all the secret guards present fell silent. About a few seconds later, someone said, young master, please stop testing us with these words. Even if we die, we will die in the Su family. Yes, if we wanted to leave, we ran away the day after the incident. How could we wait until now? My life was given by Su Shui. In this life, I will focus on the Su family. A group of secret guards made decisions one after another. No one chose to leave, and they all wanted to stay in the Su family. Good. Su Yang was quite moved when he saw this, but he is not an emotional person, and human nature is fickle. Although he can be sure that these secret guards are currently loyal to him and the Su family, there is no guarantee that they will not choose to go against him for certain interests in the future. So before improving their strength, Su Yang said calmly, I can let you step into the realm of a master now, but you must become my slaves and the slaves of the Su family. Are you willing? Zone, Grandmaster's realm. Young master, are you kidding me? I am only in the middle stage of engine, can I still become a martial arts master? The 49 secret guards were all shocked by the first half of Su Yang's words. This is natural. At this time, Xiaoting stood up and released a wave of Genkai. With the help of the eldest young master, I have successfully advanced to master. Me too. Guoyi also released a burst of energy. Seeing this, the 49 secret guards immediately believed Su Yang's words and all agreed. Young master, we are willing to be your slaves. I am willing to be your slave. I am willing to be your slave. Good. When Su Yang heard this, he quickly kneaded the secrets with his hands. Spiritual energy surged around his body, and he began to form a master-servant contract. With his current state, he forcibly bound 49 secret guards in an instant. Immediately afterwards, Su Yang did not hesitate, condensed 49 pieces of energy, and penetrated into the bodies of the hidden guards present. The 49 secret guards felt the huge energy in their bodies, and they sat cross-legged almost at the same time, using their internal energy to absorb it. The internal strength you have practiced is too useless. Stop practicing it. From now on, you can take the path of physical training. I have already passed the Qingming physical training technique and the Fulong combined attack technique to your minds. You must absorb it. Lose. Su Yang spoke calmly. Cultivators are divided into two systems. One is normal spiritual energy training, and the other is pure physical training. With truly powerful physical training, the body is invulnerable to all laws, and can defeat all laws with one force, running rampant and unstoppable. Now that he has decided to train these secret guards, Su Yang naturally does not want them to continue to follow the ancient martial arts system. However, the spiritual energy of the earth is thin, and Su Yang himself cannot find enough spiritual energy to practice, so it is not convenient for these secret guards to practice spiritual energy. Physical cultivation does not require spiritual energy. As long as you strengthen your body with various heavenly materials and earthly treasures, you can become stronger and more suitable for these secret guards. As for the Fulong combined attack technique, this is also among the top secret techniques of combined attack in the Xiantian immortal domain. 49 people form a formation and attack at the same time. The power released will increase hundreds to thousands of times, making it extremely powerful. In about 2 hours, all the 49 secret guards on the scene finished their training. Now, they have mastered Qingming's physical training technique and Fulong's combined attack technique. The energy and blood in their bodies are surging, and their strength has increased dramatically. Each of them has a fighting power comparable to that of a master. Together, they can crush the Earth sect. These secret guards also knew that they had established some kind of connection with Su Yang. Su Yang was like a superior king who controlled his own life and death, so they were extremely respectful to Su Yang. Meet the master. At this moment, the 49 secret guard members all knelt down on one knee, facing Su Yang, and saluted in unison with overwhelming momentum. Su Yang nodded with satisfaction, then smiled softly and said, now that you have embarked on a different path, the title of secret guard is no longer suitable for you. From now on, you are this combination, called blood slaughter. Compared to the Grandmaster, it's just the beginning. Soon you will be comparable to the Earth sect, comparable to the Tian sect, and even crush the Shen sect. I want you to become a bloody butcher knife in my hand and sweep across the ancient martial arts world. Su Yang's eyes were like daggers, and he said coldly, anyone who disobeys me will be killed. Yes. 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 The 49 members of the blood slaughter responded in unison, with a momentum like a dragon that shook the sky and lasted for a long time.